Today I'm excited to share my favorite mechanism of Western Legends, which is being delivered, I believe, to Kickstarter backers right now. Western Legends is a sandbox Old West game. So it's set in the US Old West. It's a sandbox game, meaning that on your turn you have a number of actions you can take, and you can take two of those actions, and you have a lot of flexibility as to what you can do. You can be good, you can be bad, you can play poker, you can fight out or track down and fight outlaws, you can get gold. I'm looking at the board here on my table. You can do a bunch of stuff in this game, and you have the freedom to do that. I really, really like that aspect of this game. But my favorite aspect, and this kind of ties into what I said about Root recently, my favorite aspect of games like this that give players a lot of actions, or a lot of options and actions, is that they tie it all together with some common components or mechanisms that can be used in a variety of ways. And in Western Legends, that's the poker deck. You get a full poker deck of cards. So I could use this to play poker if I wanted to. And in the game you do. There are times in the game where you can choose to play poker, and when you do, you create a hand of poker cards to play as your hand of cards in the game of poker. So this is what I love about these cards. I love that there are a multitude of ways that you can use them in the game. I believe there's 4 total ways. If I'm missing anything, let me know in the comments. The first, as I mentioned, is to actually play poker with them. That's cool. In an Old West game, it makes sense that you can play poker. The second is that each of them have their own special ability. Most, I believe, are actions. Some are bonuses. Here's a bonus on this one. There are a few that are like responses. Yeah, reactions. Here's one right here. So many of these are actions that you can take on your turn. Like you can say, okay, I'm going to use one of my actions to play Saddle Up, and then I'll get to move to any town space. While there's other abilities coming at different times, they aren't necessarily using your actions on your turn. So I love that you have that choice here too. So am I going to save these to play poker, or am I going to save the cards to use as actions? The last choice, the last 2 choices are for combat, when you're fighting other players or when you are fighting the outlaws in the game. It has been a few weeks since I played it, so I can't remember exactly how you use them, but it has something to do with the numbers, and you're trying to have, I believe, a higher number than the other players. But I love that you have so many different reasons to use these cards. They're multi-use cards, but they're so well integrated into the game thematically, and it's just, I love the choices they give you, because you're trying to figure out, okay, do I want to use it for this, or do I want to use it for that? What's the best way to use this card? And because they use the poker mechanism, the number 2 isn't necessarily bad, because you might have a pair of 2s, and suddenly it's better than the king that you have in your hand. So I like that the poker aspect gives new meaning to the cards and new values based on the combination of cards that you have in your hand. I really, really like this mechanism. I like multi-use cards in general, but I think they're just really, really well done here. It's just in such an elegant way they're used here. I've seen some multi-use cards in games where they have just too much information on them, but these are so simple. It's the poker part is intuitive. The way it ties into combat is simple, even though I can't remember right now. It really is very simple in the game when you use it in combat. And the actions are just clearly described down here. You don't have to remember any special icons for the actions. Just a really beautiful, elegant, wonderful way to use multi-use cards in the game, and to give players a bunch of choices stemming from this deck in a variety of paths that they can take in this sandbox game. There's a lot going on in Western Legends. If you have another favorite mechanism, I bet you do. I'd love to hear about that in the comments. Or if you have a favorite multi-use card in a game that you'd like to mention in the comments, I'd love to hear about that as well. Feel free to like and subscribe. I think we're actually getting really close to 10,000 subscribers, which was not something I ever thought I would do, which is pretty cool. I love that you are a part of this conversation in this community. So feel free to join us. Maybe you'll push us over to the 10,000 mark. Thanks.